Martin Luther King Jr. took on many roles. He was a pastor, activist, humanitarian, and most widely known for his work and improvements to the African American civil rights movement. His vision changed the world in a major way. He showed people that no dream is impossible. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. He was exposed to racism at an early age. When he began school, white playmates of his were to attend a different school from his, and once the school year began, their parents no longer allowed him to come over and play. Even though Martin Luther King went about things in a peaceful and nonviolent way, he was often arrested by the police. In Atlanta, Georgia on October 19, 1960, King and 51 other protesters were arrested for violating legislation which allowed them to be charged with a misdemeanor if they resisted to leave when asked. Charges against 16 of the group were dismissed, and another 35 were released on bond, but King was kept in jail because of a previous 12-month probation sentence. On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King would deliver one of the most influential speeches of all time, known as the I Have a Dream speech. In the speech, King spoke on racial inequality and how he dreamed that one day, blacks and whites could be united as one. King spoke to about 250,000 people attending for jobs and freedom. The crowd was black and white, poor and rich, all demanding voting rights and equal opportunity for African Americans. The peaceful rally was the largest assembly of protest that the Capitol had ever seen. He told of the everyday struggle of the black man, and he stressed the importance of continuing the nonviolent protest in order to get that ultimate change. On July 2, 1964, Martin Luther King Jr.'s dreams would come true when President Lyndon B. Johnson would enact the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Under the Civil Rights Act of 1964, segregation on the grounds of race, religion, or national origin was banned at all places, including courthouses, parks, restaurants, theaters, sports arenas, and hotels. Even though the struggle against racism would continue, legal segregation had broken down in the U.S. Thanks to Martin Luther King's nonviolent and peaceful way about going about things, on October 14, 1964, Martin Luther King became the youngest at just 35 to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. King said that every penny of the prize money, which was $54,000, would be given to the civil rights movement. King received frequent death threats due to his prominence in the civil rights movement. After the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, King told his wife, Coretta, "This is what is going to happen to me also. I keep telling you, this is a sick society." King traveled to Memphis, Tennessee in support of African American sanitation workers that were on strike. At the time, Memphis paid black workers significantly lower wages than whites. Several sanitation workers had been killed on the job due to unsafe working conditions. While in Memphis, King will give a speech known as the I've Been to the Mountaintop address in response to the bomb threat that delayed his flight to Memphis. On Thursday, April 4th, 1968, King was staying in room 306 at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. King had gone out onto the balcony and was standing near his room when he was struck at 6:01 p.m. by a single gunshot wound. The force of the shot ripped off King's necktie. King fell violently backward onto the balcony, unconscious. Shortly after shots were fired, witnesses saw a man later believed to be James Earl Ray fleeing from a room across the street from the Lorraine Hotel. Police found a package including a rifle and binoculars, both with Ray's fingerprints on them. 2 months later, James Earl Ray was arrested for the murder of Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s biggest role in society had been his efforts in advancing the civil rights movement. He brought attention to a big issue that was incredibly controversial and sensitive at that time. His protests and marches were not always successful. However, his presence in our society made a huge impact on the African American civil rights movement both before and after his assassination. Martin Luther King's biggest conflict was racism, but he compromised it by having the Civil Rights Act signed before his death. Martin Luther King's legacy and impact on America will live on for generations to come.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will